to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Steve Miller. Steve is a founding partner of Origin Ventures, a venture capital firm investing in early stage technology companies. He was instrumental in growing the firm from zero to over $300 million in assets under management. Prior to Origin, he spent 10 years at Quill Corporation, his family's office products business, which they sold to Staples. I remember those staplers. Steve has dedicated himself to many varied causes across education, civics, medical research, the arts, and the Jewish community. He has held board roles at Boys Hope, Girls Hope, One Goal, Better Government Association, Victory Gardens Theater, and the Jewish United Fund. Since 2018, Steve and his wife Diane's philanthropic focus has been on medical research through the Mesophonia Research Fund, which they founded. Steve received his bachelor's degree in marketing from Gies Business in 1987. As a supporter of both Gies and the broader university, he served on the Dean's Business Council for almost 20 years, serving a term as its chair. He's a longtime trustee and benefactor of Illini Hillel, and he served on the Chancellor's Advisory Council on Jewish and Campus Life. He and Diane provide support for both faculty and students through chair and scholarship funds, as well as the Origin Ventures Office of Entrepreneurship. He's also a major donor to the Fighting Illini Athletics Program. He's a past recipient of the Richard J. Daley Medal from the Illinois Venture Capital Association, the Goodwin Watchdog Award from the Better Government Association, and the Alumni Appreciation Award from the Gies Business Alumni Association. Ladies, gentlemen, a big round of applause as we are excited to have Steve here with us today. A big round for Steve.
And that's all the time we have, sorry. So the last time I was in one place with so many Illini was 2.5 weeks ago in Indianapolis. It was great to celebrate with everybody the accomplishments of our Final Four men's basketball team. A special shout out to our very own Gies senior, A.J. Red, a finance major. Finance major who won, get this, the National Elite Scholar Athlete Award as the student athlete with the highest cumulative GPA at the Final Four. Wow. That's what on a similar note, I also want to congratulate Illini football receiver and Gies marketing major who has an excellent taste in majors, Hank Beatty, who was named an academic All-American this year. I'm so grateful to be invited to speak here today. The two most recent keynote speakers for the Spring Luncheon were Fighting Illini Athletic Director Josh Whitman last year and some guy named Dean Jeff Brown the year before that. I've had the privilege to spend time with each of these people over the last several years, and they're cut from the same cloth. They're truly insightful leaders at our university. They both achieved bold visions by building great teams and then gathering the resources around them to execute on their plans. They're both understated, but speak inspirationally and powerfully. They both have top-tier resumes. Josh played in the NFL. Jeff worked in the White House. So what I'm really saying to you is, I'm sorry to disappoint you this year. So first off, I want to congratulate today's award winners. The world-class faculty members who have earned Excellence in Teaching Awards are rock stars. They do the work that is fundamental to the success and reputation of Gies. I'm privileged to be able to share the podium with them today. My fellow alums, Jane and Don, have accomplished so much in their lives. More importantly, though, they chose to give back to the University of Illinois and to the College of Commerce and Business Administration, which is what it was called when I graduated too. I deeply appreciate your leadership, and I celebrate your well-deserved recognition today. We're all part of a Gies community that binds us together with a set of shared experiences that, for most of us, was not just about what we learned in the classroom, but about who we became in the process. The Gies motto, as you heard from our somewhat energetic Dean Burke Elliott, is business on purpose. It describes our college's unique approach to guiding students towards discovering purpose and connecting personal aspirations with meaningful career paths. It emphasizes the significance of personal growth alongside professional advancement. It's about the values that shape how we act in the world. And I want to talk about those values today. But I want to do so in the context of something that doesn't have those values: artificial intelligence. Practically every day, when you're in a meeting, reading the news, or having a conversation over coffee, or sitting in the Gies spring luncheon, you're probably hearing some version of the same message. AI is changing everything. It's transforming how we work, how we learn, how we make decisions. And that's true. I mean, already today, AI can answer complex questions in seconds, analyze vast quantities of data, produce interesting ideas and interesting solutions to intractable problems, create music and art, and even simulate conversation. I've heard hour-long podcasts generated by Google's Notebook LM from simple outlines. They blew me away, not just because of how human the voices sounded, but by the deeply well-thought-out content of the conversations. Now, someday, if AI gets really advanced, it might help craft a keynote speech for the Gies Spring Luncheon. AI is fast, it's scalable, and in many cases, it's remarkably effective when it's not hallucinating. But in all the hype around artificial intelligence, it's important to understand that it can't do everything. There's a vast difference between artificial intelligence and genuine human traits and values. AI can generate output, but it cannot replicate true character. And when I say character, I don't mean something abstract. I mean the set of choices you make when no one's watching. The decision to do the right thing even when it's difficult or inconvenient. The willingness to take responsibility when something goes wrong. The discipline to follow through consistently. You know, like putting the grocery cart in the corral in the parking lot. Okay, show of hands. How many of you really do that? Oh, they actually showed their hands. That was my wife's idea, and like people, okay. I think you were gonna show your hands. Character is built quietly, over time, often in moments that never make it onto a resume. Artificial intelligence can provide answers instantly, but it's devoid of genuine human judgment, the ability to decide what matters, what's credible, what's worth acting on. Judgment cannot be outsourced. AI can give you options, but it cannot tell you which one you should choose when the stakes are real. It cannot weigh values. It cannot fully understand context. It cannot sit with uncertainty. Judgment is what turns information into decisions, and decisions, especially the difficult ones, are what define leaders. There are important dimensions that sit right alongside judgment and in many ways guide it: ethics and professional responsibility. Artificial intelligence can make decisions, but it requires humans to ensure that those decisions are made in a truly ethical and responsible manner. The right decision sometimes isn't the right decision, especially when the incentives are unclear or the pressure is high. Because sometimes the question isn't just what can we do, but what should we do? And the best answer to that question won't come from a machine. It comes from the hearts and minds of human beings. Technology can accelerate nearly everything. Faster analysis, faster execution, faster outcomes. But it can also accelerate mistakes. It can scale bias. It can obscure accountability. And it can create a distance between the decision and the consequences of that decision. Technology by itself does not consider whether the impact on others is acceptable. That makes ethics and professional responsibility even more crucial today. In business, ethical dilemmas don't often present themselves as a clear choice between right and wrong, and decisions don't often appear and happen in ideal conditions. They need to be made under pressure, with incomplete information, with competing interests, and that's where professional responsibility comes in. It's the understanding that your role, whatever it may be, comes with an obligation, not just to your organization, but to your clients, your colleagues, your community, the world. Artificial intelligence tools don't have the desire to ask that one more question, to challenge something that doesn't feel right, to speak up even when it's uncomfortable. That's our responsibility as ethical, responsible human beings. Beyond ethics and professional responsibility, there's another element that becomes more important over time: purpose. The purpose of artificial intelligence, according to IBM, is to simulate human intelligence to solve complex problems, automate tasks, and analyze vast data sets to enhance decision-making. That's great, but that's not our purpose as human beings. Purpose is what anchors us. It reminds us that success is not just about moving forward as individuals. It's about lifting others up along the way. AI doesn't think about that. We can prompt ChatGPT with questions about how to do something. However, when we ask, why am I doing it? The answers have to come from within ourselves. Purpose is what gives direction to effort. It's what connects what we do to something larger than ourselves. It's what sustains us when the work becomes difficult or repetitive or uncertain. AI can help you do things more efficiently. It can help you optimize. It can help you produce. But it can't tell you what's worth pursuing in the first place. It can't define what success means for you. It can't say what kind of leader you want to be or what kind of legacy you want to leave. Those are human questions requiring reflection over time. For some, purpose is found in building something. For others, it's in leading teams, in solving problems, in creating opportunity for others. For most of us, our purpose will evolve over the course of our lives. What motivates you at one stage of your life may not be the same later on. But what remains constant is this: purpose is not something that you stumble into by accident. It's something you shape intentionally through your choices, through how you spend your time, through what you prioritize, through what you're willing to say yes to, and what you're willing to walk away from. And importantly, purpose is often connected to others: your family, the people you mentor, the teams you build, the institutions you support, the opportunities you help create for others. Next, there's vision. Vision is the ability to see beyond what exists today, to imagine something better, to take a risk on an idea that isn't fully formed yet. I mentioned Josh Whitman and Jeff Brown earlier. They both personify visionary leadership. AI can extrapolate from the past. It can identify patterns, but it does not dream. It doesn't believe in something that does not yet exist. Every meaningful advancement, every company built, every initiative launched, every institution strengthened started with someone who saw a possibility where others saw limitation or saw nothing at all. That kind of vision requires imagination and courage, which are human traits. Machines do not possess those. Humans have always been defined not just by what we know, but by what we dare to imagine. Vision is not simply prediction. It's the ability to see what does not exist yet and believe that it can. Artificial intelligence, for all its power, does something fundamentally different. It analyzes, recombines, and extends patterns drawn from the past. It can be astonishingly creative within those boundaries, but it does not believe in a future, nor does it long for one. It does not take risks based on hope, conviction, or moral courage. It does not stand at the edge of the unknown and choose a direction because it feels right. Vision requires more than intelligence. It requires uncertainty and a willingness to be wrong. It requires the kind of imagination that is not bound by data, but inspired by possibility. AI can help us build the future, but only humans have the power to envision what that future should be. Generosity. Generosity is not just the act of giving. It's the choice to give when you don't have to care when there is no obligation, and to recognize that the needs of others are as important as your own, or even more so. It comes from empathy, from lived experience, from the quiet understanding of what it feels like to struggle, to hope, and to receive kindness. And generosity matters, especially in a world that increasingly values individual output, because no one succeeds alone. Careers are built through relationships, through mentorship, through people who open doors, offer guidance, and take chances on others. Artificial intelligence can simulate generosity. It can recommend donations, allocate resources efficiently, even generate messages of compassion. But it does not feel generous. It does not sacrifice. It does not choose kindness over self-interest because it has no self. It has nothing to give up. Its actions are guided by instructions and optimization, not by by any moral compass. True generosity may not be logical, efficient, or even measurable. Sometimes it means giving without knowing the outcome, helping without getting any recognition, or offering something that cannot be quantified, like forgiveness or trust. I believe that the most impactful leaders are not the ones who accumulate the most, but they're the ones who contribute the most. Think about the people who have made a difference in your life. A professor who challenged you or took extra time to explain something when they didn't have to. A mentor who believed in you and pushed you to go further than you ever thought was possible. Someone who opened a door that you didn't know existed or gave you an opportunity for growth. Chances are that what you remember most about those things is not the information that they passed along, but how they showed up. Those moments were born from purpose and intention. In many ways, generosity is the clearest example of something artificial intelligence cannot replicate. At its core, generosity is now not about what is given. It's about the intention to help. And intention is something only humans can truly claim. AI cannot decide to invest in someone else's future. It cannot choose to give. That's a human decision. And when you choose to support Gies, you're not just funding a program, you're shaping a trajectory. You're making it possible for someone to walk into a classroom, have an idea, meet a mentor, and begin a path that changes their life. And the impact of that doesn't stop with just that one person. It multiplies through careers, through families, through communities, through the people they will go on to help. Generosity is not just an act, it's an investment that compounds. Case in point, I want to take a moment to recognize again the 4 amazing Gies seniors who exemplify the concept of generosity. Christine Leong, Lalith Garapu, Dwani Patel, and Owen Krajewski. You met them before. They're the ones who put together the scholarship fund, and I want them to stand up and recognize them again for how amazing they are. So think about that. The contributions that thousands of people have made over decades to build Gies to what it is today enabled those 4 exceptional young people to get a world-class business education. And while they're still in school, they took responsibility for paying it forward and making sure that the college is more accessible to those that come after them. I was so impressed when I read about them that I asked Rebecca Pagels from the development team at Gies to introduce me to them. And we had a great conversation a few weeks ago. And then I was even more impressed by that conversation. And then I got to meet them today in person, and I'm even more impressed. And so I want to help them. Oh, it's good that they're looking at you instead of a picture of me now. That's great. So that QR code goes directly to their scholarship fund. And so let's help them blow further through their goal and donate to that scholarship fund. And that segues perfectly into the final value that I want to talk about today: gratitude. Gratitude. Are you guys donating again to your own scholarship fund? Because you're not taking a picture of me, I hope, because that would be a waste. Okay. Gratitude. It's more than saying thank you. It's a deeply human awareness that we are not completely self-made, that our lives are shaped by others, by chance, and sometimes by things that we did not earn but were given. It's a quiet recognition of kindness, the ability to reflect on what we have received, and the humility to appreciate it. Artificial intelligence can express gratitude in words. It can be programmed to respond politely, to acknowledge help, even mirror the language of appreciation. But it does not feel thankful. It has no sense of having been helped, no memory colored by emotion, no awareness of dependence or of gift. It does not experience the relief of being supported or the warmth of being cared for. Gratitude requires perspective. It comes from understanding what could have been, what was difficult, and what was given anyway. It often grows out of vulnerability, the recognition that we need others and that others chose to show up. AI can mimic the language of gratitude, but it cannot possess it, because gratitude is not just a response. It's a feeling rooted in experience and in the human ability to recognize meaning beyond ourselves. So as we look ahead, we know that artificial intelligence will become more and more capable, more integrated, more present in how we work and live. And we should embrace the use of better tools to do better work. But we should not confuse better tools with better judgment, or greater efficiency with greater character. Because at the end of the day, the question is not whether AI will change business. It will. The question is whether we will hold on to the things that make business and leadership and life meaningful in the first place. And that's where Gies plays a vital role, not just in teaching skills, but in shaping people, in reinforcing the idea that success is not just about what you achieve, but how you achieve it, and how you help others along the way. Invest, meaningful and intentionally, in the things that in the things that cannot be automated. Keep in mind what will always remain human traits and values: character, judgment, ethics and professional responsibility, purpose, vision, generosity, and gratitude. In that spirit, I'm fortunate to have the love and support of my wife, Diane, who's here for me today, as always. I'm lucky to have had a great co-founder as my partner in Origin Ventures, fellow Gies alum Bruce Barron. I'm thankful for the energetic leadership of our Dean, Brooke Elliott, for a phenomenal team. I'm grateful for the chance to have been with all of you today and for the generous support that each of you provides to our great Gies College of Business and the University of Illinois, ILL.